What are you going to do? You going to shoot some kid who's afraid of you and run? You going to shoot an elected official? If you shoot me, you better shoot straight. I don't know why you're in my city. You did. The governor was not contacted. This is Trump and his outrageous attempt to not only target our sanctuary city, but to frighten us and intimidate us. This is wrong, and I hope that none of you will use those guns to shoot anybody. There's no reason to shoot anybody. Don't allow them to make your service in a service where you're killing people. Don't do it. Defy them. Don't shoot those guns for anything.
Thank you. Thank you.
Man, these Democrats are unhinged. I mean, seriously. That's not just anybody yelling at the troops. That is Democrat Maxine Waters exploding on the National Guard. It's getting real chaotic out there, man, with these LA riots. And she's accusing them of crimes before anything even happened. That's how far gone these Democrats are, man. They let the cities burn, and now they're melting down because Trump took control. And when you see what these mobs are doing on the ground, you'll understand exactly why Trump had to step in.
Okay, so everybody is like running off right now. I'm not sure why. I can see just down the street. My photographer can move with me a little bit. There's a huge group of people marching down the street right now, and you can see this might be what we've seen before. Oh, look at that, Andy. If you can just scoot over to the right, look over here to the right. You can see there's a protester squaring off with law enforcement right now. Can you see that? So there you have, okay, we're hearing the flashbangs. We're hearing the flashbangs right now. This is what we've been seeing night after night. These clashes, these some of these violent protesters squaring off with law enforcement. You have that law enforcement in riot gear there. You could see them with their shields. They're forming a line. They're doing what they can to protect themselves from these protesters. And you have more of them, more of these protesters coming down the street right now. And you can see how quickly this could get out of hand. I'm watching people put on face masks. We're going to continue to watch this. We're seeing this right now. We can see it. Can we walk a little bit? Can we walk a little bit just to show a little bit more what we can see, Andy? If can. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move. Stay with me. Stay with me. All right, so here we go. We're going to take you up to the line so you can see what's happening here. All right, so you can see right now you have officers. They've created a line to protect themselves, standing here with these protesters who are continuing to shout at them. The disrespect, the level of disrespect has just been insane over these past few days. There's so many people cursing and shouting at law enforcement. You know, these people are out here. They're just trying to protect and serve. They're just trying to keep this community safe. Following instructions, they're here supporting ICE agents as they carry out their operations. And this is what they have to deal with. You see a lot of people. I'm looking at a lot of people with their face. Okay, they're spraying some more. We're going to scoot back just a little bit more. Staying with your photographer, trying to stay at a safe distance. I got you, Andy. I got you.
Stay with me.
This is a damn shame, man.
All right, so you can see they're pulling out the shields. The California National Guard, you can see there. We're hearing more flashbang grenades. Again, you have... All right, so you can see you have the police here, you have the National Guards here, tactical vehicles, military vehicles. Again, this is the very same place where all that violence broke out on Friday, when you had the acting ICE director, Todd Lyons, calling it appalling. This is where that happened, where they said that there were over 1,000 protesters. That was on...
This makes absolutely no sense. The people have spoken, man. Y'all know exactly what Donald Trump campaigned on. These Democrats know exactly what he said he was going to do. And they're acting as if and displaying this type of behavior as if he didn't. Come on, America spoke up. This isn't just a protest anymore. This is assault. You got these masked thugs attacking officers, storming ICE facilities and treating this shit like it's the purge. Excuse my language, but dang, man. But somehow, Democrats like Maxine Waters are defending this. Let that sink in. They don't want to stop it. They want to spin it. That's all they want to do. But while they panic, Trump didn't blink, y'all. Look at this.
Even if you don't plan to invoke the Insurrection Act, do you plan to send troops to Los Angeles?
What?
Even if you're not planning to invoke the Insurrection Act, you still plan to send troops?
Well, we're going to have troops everywhere. We're not going to let this happen to our country. We're not going to let our country be torn apart like it was under Biden and his auto pen.
What's the bar for sending Marines?
The bar is what I think it is. I mean, if we see danger to our country and to our citizens, we'll be very, very strong in terms of law and order. It's about law and order.
Sending active Marines on the table, sir. Secretary has
We're going to see what we need. We'll send whatever we need to make sure there's law and order.
Do you foresee those protests spreading to other cities, Chicago, New York, for example, in the next few days?
Yes, we're going to be watching it very closely. And when they spit at people, you know, they spit. That's their new thing. They spit, and worse, you know what they throw at them, right? And when that happens, I have a little statement. They say, they spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military, which they do as a common thing. They get up to them this far away, and then they start spitting in their face. That happens, they get hit very hard. What are the rules of engagement, General? We'll see what happens. If we think there's a serious insurrection or less than that, we're going to have law and order. Very important.
How would you define an insurrection?
You have to really just have to look at the site. You have to see what's happening. Last night in Los Angeles, we watched it very closely. There was a lot of violence there. There was a lot of violence, and it could have gotten much worse. And you have an incompetent governor. Just take a look at the train stations that he's building. Like 20 times over budget. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. So I did call him the other night. I said, look, you got to take care of this. Otherwise, I'm sending in the troops. That's what we did. Thank you very much. You have a question for Marco? Question for Marco?
California officials could face federal charges if they stand in the way of the deportation. Something that Holman may have suggested.
If they stand in the way of law and order, yeah, they will face charges. Thank you very much.
I like what he said when he said, if we see danger to our country and our citizens, I will be very strong in terms of law and order. That's not fear right there, man. That's leadership. And that's the type of leadership that we're looking for in moments like this. Because, I mean, Gavin Newsom, Karen Bates, they are complete ass. I'm sorry, y'all. I've been looking at this footage all day today. I ain't got time to be try to sit here and play nice. The way they're handling crisis time after time, historically, they suck. Trump saw the breakdown and sent the warning. He didn't beg for no type of calmness. He laid down the law. Well, no, let me put it on Hakeem Jeffries' even playing field. He laid down the line in the sand. Keep it up, and I'll send more than the guard, basically. And that's exactly what happened, because minutes later, LA officially lost control.
I do just see a tweet right now posted here of this, and I just want to take it quickly and get your opinion on this, because the LA Central Division, I'm reading it, and just like you are saying, the use of less lethal munitions has been authorized by the incident commander. Persons throwing items at officers will be detained and arrested. Any unlawful assembly has been declared by the incident commander. What is unlawful assembly at this point?
Essentially what we're saying, anytime you have a protest or protesters that are gathering, like we see, without a permit and the proper authorization by the county or state or the city, it's an unlawful assembly. And, you know, if you look at the right side of the screen, you'll see a police officer with a megaphone or a bullhorn. He's giving those commands. And I'm going to just recite what he's saying. This is an unlawful assembly. You must leave now. disperse, leave now. It's an unlawful assembly. And what they're doing is giving those verbal commands to actually be able to deploy some of these less lethal emissions that Central was talking about. And I think that statement came out because I think they're concerned for nightfall. And I think they want to kind of regurgitate what we knew last night, but the cops aren't going to put up with it. You need to just leave. And we see gas going off on the right side of the screen there. So these police officers have now been given the green light to call an unlawful assembly. They need to disperse, and if not, you're probably going to see some arrests just short of nightfall or right after nightfall, would be my guess. And if I may, Andy, I think that's when we'll see more National Guard come in and fill into the ranks because of the night danger. I mean, these, you're kind of out there in the elements, if you will.
Yeah, and
Somebody said, we have a right to free speech. We have a right to assembly. We have a right to protest our government. We do not have a right to engage in violence. Stop before it gets out of hand. That's right, because you also have the right to consequences. Because this ain't a peaceful protest anymore. This is law enforcement doing what Democrats refuse to do. Declare the obvious. This is a riot. Unlawful assembly seems more than fitting in this scenario. You have more than enough video footage and evidence and everything like that. And trust me, arrests are coming. You could thank Trump. You could thank Trump for having a backbone. But what happens when one of the Democrats shows up to play hero? We're going to take it back to Maxine Waters. I can't even talk. ICE has something else for her, y'all.
No, I want you to... Hello. Congresswoman Waters, I just came to use my congressional authority to check on David.
Ma'am, our lobby is secure right now to all visitors.
Excuse me, I need to get in.
Contact our public affairs office.
I need to get in.
What are you hoping to do, Congresswoman?
I just want to see David Werta. Right.
Would a congressperson normally be able to enter the...
Normally, yes.
What is happening here?
Well, there were some of the authorities, I don't know who they were, and I'm trying to get in to see David Werta, who they have arrested. He is the head of SEIU local union here. I don't know why he was targeted. I don't know what they're doing with him. I don't know whether they're going to deport him. I want to report back to my caucus about what's happening, but they have... No.
Man, I'm going to ask my mama and aunties and everybody to forgive me now for what I'm about to say, but the way that door closed and her neck turned around and slithered. Oh, my gosh. Look like deflated airbags. Ugh. And I know we got to get older one day, and I'm going to be somebody out here looking like I got... what is that? What is the placenta? Y'all ever seen it? My men know what I'm talking about. You seen a placenta after you had the baby? Yeah, like a mini stretched elephant deflated. Ugh. That's what just happened when I looked at her neck. Anywho, she thought her title meant something, man. I said, nope, no badge, no entry. Now, I don't know what it's like under regular... I mean, I know what it's like under normal circumstances, but I don't know what the difference is here in terms of how ICE is handling congressional appearances due to the security threat that's taking place. But that's what law and order looks like when the rules apply to everyone, even you, Maxine Waters. And while Maxine Waters got shut out, CNN got shut down too, y'all. But that's nothing new.
Well, again, I think this is an interesting debate. We're very concerned, and your reporting last segment was very concerned about rules of engagement and what President Trump is doing. What you're not reporting on is the violent and the destruction that's occurring there in L.A. What you're not reporting on are the criminal aliens that are being removed off the streets of Los Angeles. I think that is really important.
I hear you.
If that doesn't, or if that continues, then you're obviously going to have more and more law enforcement in there. Look, National Guard is trained to do this type of behavior. We saw it during the first Trump. We've seen it during the LA riots back in the early 90s, I believe. They know how to do this mission. They know how to go in there, obviously protect law enforcement, making sure that individuals have that First Amendment right to protest. But look, if they're going to cross that line, then they'll obviously take action.
Right. And I don't think anyone here in our conversation is arguing that if anyone breaks a law, that they shouldn't be held accountable. And certainly we have shown that on our show as well. I think there are real questions, though, about now that the National Guard, these National Guard troops have been federalized. Sure. What are their orders? And when are, now they're under the federal government. So what are their orders? And when are they supposed to engage? And when do they use lethal force?
Well, and my experience tells me that when local law enforcement there becomes overwhelmed, when you have 200 or several hundred other agitators and folks that are crossing the line from nonviolence to violent protest, that's when you're going to get the National Guard engaged, because law enforcement capabilities are then outmatched. And so that's what the Trump administration is saying. You don't send the National Guard in this case into every community, because you have local law enforcement usually helping. But I think what we've seen, and there's been reporting where, LAPD takes 2 hours to respond to an incident involving ICE officers. That's a problem. That's 2 hours where law enforcement officials perhaps could be deadly or seriously, I should say, injured. And you want to have other assets there, in this case, the National Guard, to protect those officers so that they can go out and that they can do their job.
And again, just going back to, putting National Guard troops on the ground there, that certainly is a statement. And these visual images, just the posture around this is very serious. It has been escalated by bringing in additional law enforcement. How do you think, or what is the thinking, if you can, about how they make sure that they can do exactly what you're describing, which is bring order, give room for people to peacefully protest who are doing that, and make sure that all of that is kept in balance and not instead turn up the temperature?
I just disagree wholeheartedly by saying that bringing the National Guard, bringing law enforcement into a community is somehow escalating the situation. The only thing that's escalating it is the amount of violence against law enforcement. We heard the same thing in Portland and Seattle about more law enforcement in those communities back in 2020 was somehow escalating it when local officials simply were not doing their job in making sure that law enforcement officers were safe. So I disagree saying when you bring in National Guard, it somehow escalates it. If local officials, whether it's the governor, the mayor, or others, had done their job, let LAP do their job, we wouldn't see this. And I think President Trump and other members of the cabinet has said, look, you need to do your job, but if you're not willing to do your job, then we're going to come in here and we're going to protect those law enforcement officials. Now, and I'm sure they'll only be there as much as they're needed to be there. But again, they need to be there to protect ICE law enforcement and others trying to carry out those immigration orders.
All right, former Acting Secretary Chad Wolf, thanks again for your time. We appreciate it.
You said something so key.
Thank
the
you.
only thing that's
We're gonna have more ahead
escalated
on the break.
is violence against law enforcement. The only thing that's escalated is violence against law enforcement. Man, that right there was, whew. CNN really tried to twist the story. They said Trump escalated the violence, and they keep trying to do this. Everything is Trump's fault when they don't have an answer when they don't have an answer and try to deflect their accountability, rather. Wrong. In terms of Trump being the one who escalated the violence. Chad Wolf hit them with the truth right there, man. The only thing escalating is the Democrats' failure, and I don't see how they are having a meltdown about the president doing exactly what's supposed to be done. And if he doesn't do it, then it's going to be a whole nother. You see what I'm saying? Like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And now, even everyday Americans are calling it out. Check this out, y'all.
Donald Trump said, hey, Governor Newsom, since you can't keep your citizens safe during these damn ICE riots, I'ma send 2,000 National Guard members to come get on that ass. Hopefully you'll be old scum afterwards. Why are y'all acting like ICE just up and decided to deport people? Donald Trump won the presidency, and not only that, he told y'all what he was gonna do. He even gave illegals the option to self-deport and get a check if you didn't do that shit. Shame on you. I'm genuinely trying to think of the thought process here. Do you
Really?
think causing chaos, committing more crimes is gonna keep you in the country? Did y'all see that one dude circling around that burning car on the motorcycle waving the Mexican flag? Nigga, what does that do for your case? Send him right now. Like, how does that fucking help you? You're a fucking arsonist. Also, ICE isn't deporting U.S. citizens. ICE is deporting illegals. Why are we acting like ICE is the problem here and not the people who, I don't know, didn't get their citizenship? Didn't get a visa to pull up? They just crawled through the desert or snuck through like a goddamn criminal. ICE is simply a form of accountability for every illegal that decided to come into America illegally. Keep it up, Donald Trump! Oh, that was a good one.
No, facts though. He's pointing out the obvious. I don't understand why people are, Democrats are trying to turn this into Trump versus American citizens issue. It is not that. You can't do it constitutionally. It's not going to happen the way he can deport. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to get deported to if we were from here? It don't make sense. So for that, I say, yeah, he's right. You don't throw rocks at cops. You don't loot stores. You don't burn flags, the American flag, and then cry racism or get getting your feelings about, these illegals actually being held accountable for the crime that they committed. You get arrested. And Trump's just making sure it finally happens, man. Shout out to this black man out here defending ICE. But the next clip says it all. Even lifelong Californians are waking up, y'all. Check out my guy right here. He says, we're red and held hostage is what he says. What's the quote I'm getting from over here?
To those who keep getting online and insulting us in California, understand, we actually believe that California is red already. But what y'all are not getting is we live under the most corrupt state in the U.S. Understand, California holds Los Angeles. It holds San Francisco. These are two of the biggest places where all your demons and witches do everything that they do. So they're not going to let California turn red as easily as they'll allow other places to turn red. Our governors are corrupt. We have voted red. We have fought against Gavin. We have called him out. We keep doing it over and over, and it still turns blue. Even this year, when voting got finished, California turned blue immediately. It didn't take any time to count. It just turned blue. And we knew immediately they did it again. So for the people who are outside of California and constantly commenting on California, you guys need to stop being stupid, stop voting blue. We're not voting blue. We live in the area that you all worship. When you love your Beyoncés and you love all your music industries and you love Hollywood and you love all that kind of stuff, and Kamala is part of San Francisco, and like, you guys have to understand, all those people are here in California. It's 10 times as hard to get California to turn blue because we live under all of the witches and the warlocks and the demons. They're not going to allow California to turn red as easy as other places. So instead of insulting us, pray for us. Lift California up. Pray to God and say, hey, help them there.
Amen to that.
But y'all get on here and y'all call us dumb and, oh, hey, California, you guys just keep voting for the same thing over and over. No, we are not. I live here in California. I'm in the Bay Area. I know for a fact we are not voting blue. Yeah, there's some people who are, but a majority of us are red. But no matter what we do, we literally just voted on a bunch of different stuff, and they just walk up and say, nah, we're not going to do it. It doesn't fit our agenda, so we're just not going to do it. And nobody stops them. There's nothing to stop them from doing it. California is being held captive. If you want to know this true situation, California is being held captive. Pray for us. Don't get on here and insult us. Pray for us. Thank you and God bless.
Wow, man. We vote red. but we're held hostage by Hollywood, corruption, and media lies. Now understand what the we're red held hostage means now. This is not some right-wing podcaster. That's a California man tired of being silenced. They've had enough, man. Enough of the crime, enough of the lies, enough of the fear. Now, they're calling on Trump to do something that they leaders won't do, but also encouraging people like myself and everybody tuning in from the outside to actually pray for the city as opposed to talking down on these individuals. But I'll say this, man. Democrats tried to frame Trump as the villain. But now he's actually not sitting back, but he's actually out here restoring order, and they're having full-blown meltdowns about it. Failed their cities, they failed their people, failed themselves, and now they're failing in public. Let them scream, man. Tell you what, let them panic, because the country is waking up, and the cleanup crew has just arrived, according to Trump. Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You could be saving their life. Peace.